Hello, welcome to Agatha's Kitchen. It's a great fall morning. Today we're going to make crab stuffed portobello mushrooms. This is really great as a light but filling meal, and you can buy the smaller ones and fill those. The only thing is there's a lot of chopping involved. You don't wash mushrooms. Portobellos have a lot of dirt, so I had to very gently clean them out and take off the stems. The stems I cut up very small pieces, and that's because mushrooms have a lot of water in them. They're almost like a diuretic. And what you do is you put this into your butter and it creates some juice so you don't have to use a lot of breadcrumb later. It also has, I have 10 mushrooms, 10 stems, about 5 sprigs of parsley chopped up, a stalk of celery, and about 1 shallot. Don't use onions. Onions are far too pungent. Shallots have a much sweeter taste, and if you buy them, don't buy them in the box. They're old and they're dried out. Buy them wrapped. They're 3 to 4 to a package. This is 1 shallot, but it's stuck together, and you peel them and dice them. So I've got parsley, celery, shallots chopped fine, minced up. I've got my mushroom stems, and I bought some mock crab to add as a filler, and I have that all chopped up. You can buy the lump style or the flake style. Either way, it's good. You just cut it up. You can also buy it in a pouch. It's Kemp's mock crab. And I have, because I have 10 mushrooms, I figure about 3 mushrooms per can of crab meat. And a little bit of breadcrumb, 1 tablespoon of breadcrumb. We'll get to that in a second. The mushrooms, as I said, have been wiped with a wet cloth, the dirt taken off, and my new no-stick pan, but I don't trust my new no-stick pan. So I've taken a little bit of just oil. If you like olive oil, this is spagnolo oil, and a little bit there, just so nothing sticks. Now, if you want to make the smaller ones, you can, but you need a lot more chopping, and it becomes a little bit cost prohibitive. So this makes a nice first course, main meal, and they're delicious. The crab is nice and sweet. The shallot's sweeter than the onion. It's a very nice palate tasting. It's very sweet. So I'm going to take this all over to the stove now, and we're going to put this in the fry pan and fill these and stick them in the oven for about 15 minutes at 350. So let's move our stuff over. Here's my crab, which goes in last. My mushroom stems go in first. And right afterwards is the parsley, the shallot, and the celery. So I've melted 2 sticks of whatever you prefer, margarine, butter, it doesn't matter. But you do need some liquid, so I'm going to get this down. Turn this up a little. Be sure you don't burn butter or whatever you use. I put the mushrooms in first, the stems, because as I said, they have a lot of juice, and all the other things will absorb that. So, turn this up. By the way, when this is cooking, it has the best smell in the world. This is a brand new no-stick fry pan, too. Get this in, get this going. Let that cook up. I've preheated my oven to 350. Because as I said, I take 15 minutes at 350. And should you end up with more stuffing than you need, you can save it, you can freeze it, you can put it in an omelet. By the way, these freeze well, they heat up in the microwave well. It's an almost foolproof recipe. Here goes my parsley, my shallots, my celery, and the shallot gives it such a wonderful, wonderful flavor. Don't have to cook this too much because you want just a tiny bit of crunch to everything. Should you find that you're running low, you can always open another can of crab meat, throw in a little extra breadcrumb. So you have to kind of weigh it out. I'm going to reach over for my, it's beginning to come up with a nice, nice scent. I'm going to put the mock crab in first. Now, while this is sautéing, I'm going to open my 3 cans of lump crab meat. Don't buy the flaked. The flaked is okay if you're making a recipe like a dip or something and you want it really cut up fine. The lump crab meat is much better for this recipe anyway. So that's looking good. I'm going to start opening these, and any brand will do. I think I've got some Bumblebee and some Chicken of the Sea here today. Yeah, I know they have electric can openers, but the interesting thing about the crab meat packed in the can is that there's like a paper lining to act as a protector. And sometimes on the electric can opener, that gets shredded to bits. See? You can see here. I use the juice. Now, you did not hear me mention the use of salt because crab is naturally salted, and I use juice and all. And you can get about 3 per can. Can you use just the mock crab meat? Absolutely, if you so choose. It's 1. I've got measured out here some breadcrumb, unseasoned, about a heaping tablespoon per mushroom. Does this mean that I always have a little extra stuffing? Yeah, but I love it in an omelet, so. Here we go. It's number 2. There's that paper I was talking about. And it is on the bottom as well. Just make sure it doesn't stay in the pan. Nice. You can chop all this the day before. As a matter of fact, if you wrap them nice and tightly, you can do these entirely the day before a party or a dinner party or as an hors d'oeuvre for smaller ones, and then wrap them tightly with saran, wrap them tightly again with tin foil, stick them in the fridge. Just take them out about a half an hour before you're going to cook them, so they kind of get down to room temp. And this is the last here. Remember, juice and all, keeps it nice and moist. There we go. It's looking good, smelling terrific. As I said, this involves a lot of chopping, which can be done ahead of time. The one thing I have not tried is chopping everything in my Cuisinart or my Ninja or whatever. I have a tendency to over chop and then it gets too mealy. So, oh man, the smell is delicious. And I measured out 10 heaping tablespoons of breadcrumb, and I'm going to just get that in there. If you feel that it's a little too wet, this breadcrumb acts as a binder. If you feel it's a little too wet, you can add a little bit more breadcrumb. If you make a boo-boo and get too much breadcrumb in there, add a little water. Lots of ways to fix the problems on this recipe. And the crab turns such a pretty shade of pink, orangey corally pink, sort of like a shrimpy color. I like to add the breadcrumb just a little bit at a time so that you can get it all around, get it absorbed into everything. This works with gluten-free bread too. Looking good, looking good. I have a tendency to use too much parsley in everything. And sometimes it comes out a little on the green side. But this is great today, not too much. Yeah, what the heck. There we go. Stick this aside. If you have friends or dinner guests that are allergic to crab, you can do the mushroom, shallot, celery, parsley, then put in the breadcrumb. Doesn't work as well, but it'll be okay. And then you can fill it with just plain breadcrumb. Then you can add the crab in at the end. It will work. Doesn't come as nice, but it will work. And then that way they can also partake and not have anaphylactic shock before the main course. So that's looking and smelling wonderful. With its orange and its green, it's a nice fall dish. I use this as one of my 7 fish courses at Christmas time, right after the raw clams. Okay. So now I'm going to fill the mushrooms. start with about 1.5 and then top it off to mound it up. Unfortunately, yesterday, this is all the mushrooms and the portobellos they had. They were waiting for a shipment. So some of them look a little ragged around the edges, but it works just fine. This is like a perfect size, perfect shape one. I did oil the pan in the bottom a little tiny bit. If you choose not to do that, you can use parchment paper. That'll work. And these are filling, so if you use them as a fish course, I do have some leftover stuffing. I guess I'm going to have an omelet Saturday morning. It's great on crackers. Lobster's good, but lobster doesn't have the sweetness that a crab has. Okay. Now I'm going to go around and just fill in a little bit here and there. My fork. Use my spoon. And a spoon. Okay. Oh, pretty good. Okay. Oven, here we come. And I have my timer ready to go. We've got everything in the oven. That's going to take 15 minutes. In the meantime, let me tell you what I'm going to serve as well with this. I'm going to serve what my mom used to call Italian potato salad. And that's because my grandfather wouldn't eat mayonnaise. So I had some leftover green beans. And what I did was I cooked up a couple of boiling potatoes and let them cool, and I cut them up, and I added a little bit of red onion for that zippy taste, and a little vinegar and oil. So it's a potato salad, but no mayonnaise, not a lot of oil, salt, pepper, parsley, the usual things, and it's very, very colorful. So I've got a nice tossed salad, potatoes, green beans, onions, salt, pepper, vinegar, and oil. And it's a nice complement to the sweetness of the crab. So that's good. This can be served hot or cold. I like it better when it's a little warm. I made this yesterday, took it out of the fridge this morning, just left it on the top, so it'll be a little bit warm. So that's good. Well, while that's cooking, Now I get to set my table. This was my leftover. This will go in an omelet Saturday morning, maybe with some crackers as a snack Sunday afternoon. Keeps great in the fridge if you wanted to freeze it. And maybe treat yourself to a couple of stuffed mushrooms some afternoon or some evening. It's great. The placemats Mrs. Evans made. I bought these at the North Reading Apple Festival, and I ordered them. Told her I wanted something with some yellow and some black, but with a fall motif, and they look really great. So I'm off to get my dishes. I'm going to set my table so we can have a great lunch. So I've made a nice tossed salad, lettuce, tomato, romaine, wonderful whole wheat Tuscan penne, they call it, market basket, really nice bread and butter, and our Italian potato salad. And my friend Matt is joining us for lunch. So I'm going to set our places. There we go. And I even have a mushroom server. I don't know where we got this, but it's great for picking up mushroom. I think it might actually be a pastry server, but ingenuity. Necessity is the mother of invention. So I'm going to get my table finished being set, and then I can pull those mushrooms right out of the oven. Okay, so it's time to eat. I'm going to make the plates, and mushroom and a little bit of Grandpa's Italian potato salad with vinegar and oil and green beans and a red onion. And a little bit of tossed salad without any dressing. You can put whatever you want. Blue cheese, vinegar and oil, Thousand Island. Here we go. We're ready to eat. A little bit of everything. Little potato salad, crab stuffed mushrooms, tossed salad. Bon appetit. See you next time. Have a good fall. Remember, good cooking in Agatha's kitchen.